Let me tell you how I make a living as a full-time content creator. And I'll tell you straight up, it's not from the videos that I make for my 50,000 followers. Now, my content creation journey to the point of now, like the place that I've gotten so far, has been pretty convoluted, many ups and downs, and just trying to figure things out from scratch. And I really have enjoyed it and learned a lot from it, but I think there is a misconception that content creators and influencers are in this top 1% echelon of making money. They're all rich. They all just post a video and make millions from it. And I will say, for the top 1% of content creators, that is probably true. You know, they have millions and millions of followers, they get millions of views on each video. Plus, when you're looking at large content creators, those are the people that are on your For You page, those are the people that are on your YouTube homepage. You're seeing them very often. But what about the other content creators out there? The ones under a million, under 500K, under 100K? Because for most of my friends who are in the same field as me, they have a 9 to 5 outside of doing their content. And that is what is really normal. So I've never gotten too deep into what I do outside of the Japanese culture videos and things like that. I've always been a little hesitant, I think, because I've always still been growing as a videographer, as someone who makes videos, and showing this other side of me is also very vulnerable. But I think I am at the point where I do have things to share, and I think a lot of people can benefit from it. So I want to do more videos like this, explaining my own career, the things that I do outside of talking to y'all about Japanese culture. And I hope that all of you will be receptive to it, even though it isn't a video titled "The Best Things to Do in Japan" or "You Gotta Eat Here in Japan." Because outside of all the Japanese stuff, this is like the real me we're talking to right here. So I think the first thing we need to talk about is why my Japanese content doesn't make money. I've been making content for a long time, and I was so happy to actually start seeing growth, but it took a lot of iterations on not just how I film my videos, but the editing style and all that kind of stuff, and the niche that I wanted to be in. I always know I wanted to talk about Japan-related stuff because of my time there, but I also wanted to make it suitable for an audience, suitable for people not only living in Japan, but traveling in Japan, using all of the topics and discussions that I had with friends and families and questions they had about Japan. I wanted to really embody that within a video medium. And it took a while to figure out the editing style that worked, how to get all that information into just a little short video, and to make it entertaining and educational and blend that all together. And it worked. We got followers, we have a little audience, people kind of like me, I guess. Woohoo! But then came the next problem of what am I supposed to do in order to monetize this audience, kind of figure out how to make this into a legitimate career. Because, surprise, surprise, with short video, you really can't make that much money. And it baffles me with all these TikTok stars in the millions, or, you know, even people on Instagram and stuff. I'm kind of like, well, how do they actually make a living off of it? Because there are so many people who say that they can and that they do. So simply breaking it down from my own experiences, number one, it's dependent on the niche that you're in. I think most people are getting their money either through ads or through sponsorships. And those are very dependent on the niche that you're in, because advertisers want to make sure that your audience are going to buy whatever you're selling or whatever you're trying to promote. So people making fashion videos, makeup videos, videos about electronics and phones and computers and all that kind of stuff, those are the kind of influencers or content creators that a lot of companies want to work with. The issue for me is, after living in Japan, I chose to come back to America, and I got a little comfy here. I didn't really have any big plans on moving back, and with pandemic and other things and kind of like working between here and there, it just didn't pan out to live there 100% of the time in Japan. Do I have motivation and plans to eventually move back one day? Definitely yes. I think that's a separate video though. We need to talk about like what my goals and aspirations are for moving back to Japan. But with my niche being Japanese culture, Japanese travel and tourism, and that realm, it does make it very profitable for partnering with Japanese companies who want to advertise their tours, their restaurants, anything that a visitor would want to see. Now, here comes the catch. Here is why I don't make money. Obviously, for partnering with Japanese companies, Japanese restaurants, they want you to be in Japan because they want you to film in person. I 100% get that. And so that is definitely one of the struggles. I think the other struggle that is actually more significant is that there is no way for Japanese companies to pay people abroad. And that's easily the most pressing issue. You may have heard that it's just hard enough to transfer money from Japan to another country and vice versa. But there is no universal payment platform that transfers Japanese yen to other bank accounts that are outside of Japan. And so even if I were to work with a Japanese company, in order to advertise a product or something like that, it would be very difficult for the Japanese company to actually pay me. They would need to have some kind of American branch, and that is the way that I would be able to facilitate that process. So obviously, for the influencer slash content creator side of me that creates all this Japanese content, it's not that great to be in America. So why do I stay? Well, good freaking question. All in all, I knew beforehand that short video is just not very profitable. I think it really doesn't even depend on what niche you're in. Like, you definitely have a higher chance if you're in the more popular niches like fashion, makeup, beauty. But at the end of the day, a short form video is still just short form. Especially the shorter it is, the less you can really run ads on it or even have it be an ad. So I took a little bit of a different approach when I thought of cultivating a following. Thank you everyone who's watching, and starting to get more traction on the social media channels. Anything that I make, anything that I do, even if it's not profitable, it can still be an example of what I can do for other people. Stick that in a portfolio and make it something that is shareable to businesses and other people who definitely need that social media or videography help. And that's why I do stay in the area, because I was able to get some clients by showcasing the work that I did for my own brand. Now that is 100% where I actually get my income as a content creator, but it is making content for other people because at the end of the day, that is more profitable, and more profitable for me as someone who doesn't have over 1 million subscribers or followers anywhere. I think the past few years of working with clients too has definitely helped figure out what kind of audiences are out there, what kind of media works with different audiences, and being able to apply that to whatever niche that I am working in. So even right now, I'm working for someone in the healthcare industry, I'm working for someone in San Francisco, I also have someone who's advertising their own products, so I do UGC content for that, and also being able to do one-off video for other clients and businesses. If you have been checking in on my MATOKA and MATOKA Milk Tea channels, you may have seen that the postings are a lot less. And there is a reason for that. I just don't have as much time to focus on the MATOKA brand because I am doing all this other stuff. It's amazing that I actually can push out 2 videos a week while also doing all this other stuff. I'm honestly amazing myself at this point, but I also just don't want to burn out. So please don't blame me if you see less postings and all that kind of stuff. I am definitely trying, but I want to be 100% honest and open and say that I am working on a lot of other things outside of the MATOKA brand. So I've said my part, but I do want a little section of the video talking about what I would advise or say to content creators out there that are still trying to make it. So what would I advise aspiring content creators out there? Number 1, and you're not gonna like this, but don't quit your day job. I definitely do not make much money even now. I mean, it's been a whole ramp up and I have been slowly but surely increasing the number of gigs that I get, the quality of my video and all that kind of stuff, which has helped with income, but it's not like I'm making anything compared to a full-time job. Now, do I regret not having a full-time job? Honestly, not right now, because I do want to explore this avenue. I do want to, you know, expand my portfolio and increase the things that I can say, yes, I did that. And all these things can be applied and, you know, put on your portfolio when you are sending out applications to full-time positions. And I do think that does make you a stronger candidate at the end of the day. But I'm not gonna say no if I get a really good offer for a full-time position that still encompasses a lot of the things that I want to do. I'm still applying to full-time positions all the time. But I do think on the pathway to becoming a content creator, you want some sort of stability. Number 2, focus on short form video. I know I was saying there's no money in short form video, and I do honestly believe that that is true, but short form video is an easier way to get into content creation than full-heartedly going into long form video. Just the editing process itself, I think you can be a little more creative with short form, and it doesn't take as long. It's not as time consuming as creating a 10-minute video where me as a perfectionist really wants to add edits and stuff in every little second of it. I also feel like short form video is a little more rewarding at the end of the day because you are getting more gratification for each video that you do post. Usually you are just gonna get more views, more interactions, more likes. It's something that is consumed a lot more than long form video, so you get that gratification and that helps pursue your desire to want to keep creating. Now, short form video definitely does have a shorter shelf life than long form video, as in being consistent in short form video is a lot more important. I think unless it's a super viral video that becomes a trend, the short form videos, while they are easy to scroll and stuff, everything is a lot more forgettable nowadays just because people are pumping out so much of it. And number 3, really important to find your own voice and your own audience and kind of figuring out what your audience wants to see, what people want to see in general. Because one of the things that I really had to learn the hard way is that people don't necessarily want to watch what you want to watch. I definitely need to think in the mindset of the audience whenever I'm doing brainstorming, thinking of different video ideas. What are other people going to relate to, react to, and kind of want to see? Or what kind of information are they going to want to consume? Because at first, I was so in my head about things that I know and things that I have already experienced, and not really thinking like, oh, a lot of people might have not had that experience or really have had that experience and want to relate to it in some kind of way. You know, like sharing their opinions or their own experiences in the comments because it is such a relatable thing, or asking more questions because it really isn't relatable and having you answer them in the comments. But at the end of the day, content is something that is forever changing. It really is. I'm learning something new every single day, and it's exhausting. It really is. But for everyone who has been following, is following, and has been watching me for quite some time, I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that me not posting as much isn't like, oh, he's trying to quit, or oh, he's got no ideas or anything like that. But now you know, and me being more vulnerable, uh-oh, this is going on the internet, scary, scary. You know now the things that are going on a little more behind the scenes. And I really want to dial in and make a little bit more content of the things that are going on behind the scenes. Doing more vlogs, however uncomfortable they are for me. I can do this camera stuff, like talking to the camera. Going outside and being in public with all this, that's where it's a little more difficult for me. But it is something that I do want to and probably need to get better at as well. So that is what we're trying to do, onward and forward. There's definitely still going to be Japanese culture content on here. I got some other things on the back burner and actually in motion right now for other channels and other niches. I do really appreciate all y'all. That was freaking weird. This video is already too long. I've gotten to the point where I'm so in my head now. I'm thinking about having to edit all this. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel because that actually really helps. And if you're not following me on the other platforms, please do so. And I'm manifesting it right now. You will make more YouTube content. Okay, it's in here, so make sure to stay tuned. See ya.